It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Carrie Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors.
Good Sunday morning to you. This is Carrie Brown, broker owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. Today I am here with Mike McLaughlin, and he is the Communications and Public Information Supervisor for Shawnee County Parks Rec. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good, Carrie. How are you?
Doing great. So let's talk a little bit. Tell us about Shawnee County Parks and Recs and what you guys do, because a lot of us just think, well, it's summer programs, but you're really more than that.
Once the weather warms up, we're going like crazy all the way through about October 15th when the kids are back at school and we've got everything closed down again. But we have 2,625 acres of parks. We have more than 50 miles of trails that we maintain. Some are paved and some are natural surface trails, and 320 days of sporting activities, and that's only part of it. We have recreational activities. Of course, our aquatic center is getting ready to open back up. The Midwest Health Aquatic Center opens for its first full season this year.
And that in itself looks like a place that you have to go to. It's huge.
It is the biggest of our three aquatic centers, and it offers the most thrills. It has a 35-foot-high water slide tower that has 5 slides on it. It ranks in the top 10 to 15% of municipal water slides in the country at that height. We have the area's first zip line out there, and we have the nation's first bow tie wave pool. And there's a children's play area for the little kids, too. The parents can sit in some really shallow water out there and keep cool, watch the kids play under the water tower.
So he has provided me with stats, which is amazing, by the way, but 15,000 people used the aquatic center in 20 days of operation. That's a lot of people.
That's right. We kicked it off last year. The Washburn Rural Middle School students wrote a really nice editorial in their school paper about how excited they were to have this coming to their area. So we invited them out, and 400 people came out just for the ribbon cutting and kickoff. We closed down for an hour to let the public line up outside, and there was a good-sized line outdoors. But, it went really great right on into the school year.
That is amazing. Well, at least we know that money went to good use, right?
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that brings money back into the community. It's an economic development driver. A lot of people don't consider Parks and Recreation is a driver of economic development. People come from all around the region. The different aquatic centers, the parks, the programs, the Spirit of Kansas on the 4th of July, et cetera.
Wow. And how many jobs does that create for the community?
Yeah, we have about 100 full-time employees, but this summer right now, we're in the process of filling 350 seasonal positions. These some run the summer long, some go 6 to 9 months. They're everything from lifeguards to golf course maintenance staff. We have positions for cashiers for sports, the mini train and carousel engaged park maintenance staff, and several other types of positions as well. If you're interested, you can visit our website right on the homepage, parks.snco.us, and click on the Employment Opportunities link. You'll see all the job descriptions, and then just click Apply here.
Let's talk about the trails. How many trails do we have around here, and what do you feel is the key things of having those?
In each issue of the guide, we have a number of trails listed all together, but we have a feature on our trails this year in the guide. And we talk about not just the most popular trails, the Lake Shawnee Trail, which is about 7 miles around the lake, and we're actually going to flatten out that great big hill in the south part that you're used to.
Oh, but that's where you get the best momentum when you're on the bicycle.
It is, but we also have signs up asking people to walk their bike down the hill to be safe. We've had a couple of people go down and don't want to have that happen again. So we've got 7 miles of paved trail out there. It goes by the scenic Ted Inslee Gardens. That's 9.5 acres. And it's actually part of a 37.5-acre natural area that includes the gardens, the arboretum, the Dick and Dottie Hangar Nature Area, which is under development right now if you want to watch that take shape out there. Go by the sports complexes if you want to catch a ball game, the golf course. And if you're down in the flats area or anywhere around the lake, if they're flying, you might see the bald eagles. They're nesting again down in the flats, and they have a couple of eagles already.
Absolutely. So Dornwood has some nature trails too, correct?
Yeah, everybody knows about Lake Shawnee, and everybody knows about the Shunga Trail. It runs about 8 miles across the city. By the way, we're adding to the Shunga Trail this year. It'll now go underneath 29th Street and I-470. So it opens up to that whole neighborhood area down to the south, and you'll be able to ride a bike from there or walk all the way from there up to 2nd Street, where you connect to the Deer Creek Trail, which turns down toward Dornwood Park. And an eventual plan is to make the Deer Creek Trail run all the way into Dornwood, where you now have, we say 6 to 7 miles of nature trails, but I was just talking to Mike Goodwin of Kansas Trails Council, which is a key partner of ours. They now map 9.5 miles of trails. Some of these are trails that have actually been created by deer, by animals, doing switchbacks on the trails, but mountain bikers like it down there too. But the cool thing is, Terry Brandon of our forestry division is new with us. She has some background in interpretive programs. So that's the site of one of 3 interpretive programs she'll be doing. She'll be doing a tree identification and a nature walk through Dornwood Park. There's an old dairy farm there, and you can still see the remnants of it. There's the foundation of the home, a couple of wells that you'll see. And it was once all pasture area, but for 20 years or more, it's been growing back into the forested area that it is today. So to hear that story of how the trees came in, and what are natural trees in this area, is really pretty interesting. A couple other trails programs coming up. There's a bird watching program in the Warren Nature area, which a lot of people don't even know is right off the Shunga Trail in Felker Park. If you see the little dirt path going back there, that's the Warren Nature area. So they do a little bit of bird watching. And then in Skyline Park, which has gained a lot of popularity again since the Jura Credit Union made a major gift to fix up that park and enhance the trails, will be the site of a prairie plant walk. Each year we try to burn the woody growth off the top of the prairie area. We didn't get to do it last year or this year. But there are native plants that are colorful, like the orange milkweed, the indigo, the prairie plant flowers, and some purple prairie clover. And that whole park has such a story behind it. There's, of course, the story Burnett's Mound with all the legend of that. And Chief Burnett lived up there. His family owned the property, and they used to serve white settlers coming through. They would exchange horses with them, etc. But there are now 4.7 miles of trails through there. You can start off on a wooded trail. You'll pop out at the top on the prairie area. You can either take off on a new trail loop down to the southwest or continue along the Summit Trail, where you have one of the highest and the most panoramic views of all of Shawnee County. You can stand up there and pick out landmarks. One of our plans with the Jura Major Gift is to put up some interpretive signage. So you might be able to stand at the top, and we'll have an interpretive kiosk up there that identifies the landmarks you can look at, and you can see if you pick them out along the horizon. Guys, there's so much to talk about up there. Foxes, coyotes, and deer have been seen in the park. You won't see them because they shy away from people, but it provides a natural habitat area for them. And then nearby, there's some land they can go on that has some water that helps sustain them.
Absolutely. So, real quick, where can people pick up the guides that you guys put out?
Any Parks and Recreation Community Center. You can get it at our administration office at Lake Shawnee or the administration annex over at the Hillcrest Community Center. And we have them in the racks at grocery stores, primarily at Dillon's.
And you can also check them out online at parks.snco.us.
That's right. We keep the PDF if you want to flip through it up there. Absolutely.
Okay, so Gage Park, you guys do that also. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Gage Park has a neat anniversary coming up this year. It's one of our 2 big regional parks. The mini train is about as iconic as anything within Parks and Recreation. When we put that up every year, saying we're getting the mini train ready for the summer, our Facebook just lights up. The train celebrates its 80th anniversary this year. Hard to believe that. But you can ride around. There's an engineer who will tell you all about the different landmarks in the park. Some of the history of the park is pretty rich. The zoo parking lot right now, if people are newer to Topeka, used to be the original swimming pool. And it was a swimming hole. When the Gage family turned it over to the city, it was just a pond. So they drained it, cemented it in, and put in a slide and a couple other amenities, and it became the first pool. And Helen Hocker Theater is right now in what used to be the bathhouse for the park. So the Gage Park, the Blaisdell Family Aquatic Center that's in the park is actually the 3rd rendition of a park that's in the 3rd rendition of an aquatic facility that's been in the park.
Wow. That's a lot of history. You wouldn't know that without having... Do you guys ever post that information anywhere so that there's actually, if somebody really wants to know the background of Burnett's Mound or the
One of the places, if you follow a History Geeks on Facebook, Bill Rippon is our resident historian, he's our park planner, and Bill will post stuff up on History Geeks once in a while. There's a good history of Lake Shawnee on the Shawnee Yacht Club's website, if you want to see it. They'll talk about how in the early days the lake was built during the WPA era, and when it finally got enough water in it to float boats, guys would get catalogs, and they'd buy a wooden boat kit and float some of the early yachts that were out there. But now the Yacht Club this summer will continue introducing people to sailboating. You can actually go out there, watch the Yacht Club's website, and find out when some of their free sailing lessons are taking place.
So summer obviously has something for everybody. Hit some of the highlights of the events that you guys have going on.
If you take a look on our guide on page 4, you'll see that the summer park concert series start up in Gage Park May 11th to August 16th. And the concerts in the parks up at Garfield Park with the North Topeka Community Band run June 5th to July 10th. Some people like to get out and participate in or just come out and watch the Topeka 10-man triathlon. That's June 17th this year. Of course, July 4th, the Spirit of Kansas starts off with a car show in the morning. Then we get the Blues Festival going. Suki at the Ramada Inn puts that in from Uncle Bo's, puts that on. And then the vendors out there all day long. And then at night, of course, the great Spirit of Kansas fireworks show at Lake Shawnee. July 14th to 30th, the Sunflower State Games. The Sunflower State Games Fishing Derby at Lake Shawnee Junior is July 22nd. We're getting a lot of calls about that already. Big Screen Under the Stars, July 27th, will be an outdoor movie we'll show, a family movie at Bettis Family Sports Complex. Ciclavia runs August 11th to 13th. That'll be in different parks, and, of course, the big event downtown. August 26th is the India Fest in Gage Park. Moving on into the fall in September, we have the Intertribal Powwow, September 1st to 3rd at Lake Shawnee. The very popular Huff and Puff Balloon Rally, September 8th through 10th at Lake Shawnee. Great Topeka Duck Race is actually a week later this year. It'll be September 16th at Lake Shawnee. Then the Kansas Senior Games, September 15th to 24th. And it's something we really do want to let people know this year is that September 30th and October 1st up at Old Prairie Town, Award Made Historic Site, Apple Festival has become a 2-day event this year. It's so popular. About 6,000 people regularly attend it. So it's a 2-day event, and we're moving wheat stock from a summer concert to becoming part of Apple Festival. So you get to hear some great acoustic musicians at the same time that you attend the event.
So if you have the urge to say that there's nothing to do in Topeka, just don't. There are so many things that you guys could be out and doing and ways to get involved in the community. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Southwest Topeka has a good neighbor. State Farm agent Jim Garrison, now at 29th and Urish. If your current insurance situation has you going around...
Sounds that you guys could be out
and doing and
get involved in the...
We'll be right back after a word.
Thanks for listening to Real 101.
Southwest Topeka has a State Farm agent Jim Garrison, 29th and Urish. About at 29th and Urish.
And we're back. This is Carrie Brown, broker, owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. I'm back with Mike McLaughlin. He is with Shawnee County Parks and Recs, and we were just discussing some of the great things that that are around Topeka and what Parks and Recs mean to the community. You want to tell us a little bit more so people can actually wrap their heads around it's more than just, a pool here and there. You guys do so much.
Sure. Parks and Recreation, we sometimes call the quality of life department. You'll hear the Chamber of Commerce talk a lot about quality of life and quality of place that bring people actually to the community and keep people in the community. So Parks and Recreation adds to a community's quality of life. It provides a sense of pride and cohesion in a community. It increases property values. If you live around Lake Shawnee, your house is worth a little more than it would be elsewhere. And then it's been linked to a reduction of juvenile delinquency and crime as well. And again, we talked about more than 50 miles of trails, 2,625 acres of parks, 320 days of sports activities. So we like to say there's a lot to do in Shawnee County. We'll meet you there. You can join us for a class. You can just get out and play, and we're there for you. And it seems a shame for anyone to live in a community and pay taxes and not get out and enjoy the parks and facilities that they're paying for. There's all kinds of research showing that parks are great for mental health. There are now doctors who actually give park prescriptions for people who have high blood pressure, people who have stress, people who want to lose a few pounds. They'll prescribe, get out in your park, walk this many miles on the trail, burn this many calories. In fact, in one of our early issues of the guide, we published how many calories you'd burn doing different activities such as walking or biking along a trail.
Especially Lake Shawnee, because that's a lot of ups and downs, and I was just scolded because we do now walk our bikes down, but it is a lot of fun, except for you shouldn't. So just going to put it that way. There are so many great things that you can do, and if you include 10-man circle, I mean, that's even more miles. So it's a day, bring a lot of water, but it's a lot of fun, and it's 7 miles.
7 miles around. We'll change that a little bit as we talked about, straightening out that big hill a little bit so it's not quite as bad. One of my coworkers is an ultra marathoner, and he said, "Thanks, I won't miss that big hill."
Yeah, especially going up it. Going up it, it's killer. Coming down, it's a little bit fun. You've got to hold on to your bike, though, to walk it down because it seems like your bike just wants to go down without you.
Oh, yeah. So, a lot of momentum there.
Okay, so one of my favorite things, actually is my favorite thing about what you guys do, is the gardens. Let's talk about the different ones that are around town.
People even from New York have been to Ted Inslee Gardens at Lake Shawnee, and they call it world class, so that's pretty impressive. Dave Bartles is our horticulture supervisor. When Dave came to Shawnee County Parks and Recreation, Ted Inslee, for whom the gardens are named, was the parks director. He wanted a rose garden. So some people went out, got together, mostly volunteers, with the help of Julie Trowbridge from the staff, and they put in a lot of rectangular beds of roses, and that's what Dave inherited. You go in the garden today, Dave will take you around for about 2.5 hours. He will take you to a spot just southeast of where the round fountain is, and he will say everything you see northwest of here was a parking lot when I came. So from where the wooden bridge is to the water feature that runs underneath it, the creek, it's all terraced. You see Japanese maples and other plantings down there. Go across the bridge, the round fountain. Just past that fountain was once all parking lot. It's all been added since Dave has been there. He is a combination of an expert and an honorary kid. He is passionate about what he does. He has degrees. He studied architecture, horticulture, psychology, and public administration. And you'll see all 4 of those if you go out there. Because Dave will conceive something, and he said one time, when I tell people about my ideas, sometimes they think I'm crazy, but when it's finished, they think it's pretty neat. For example, the pagoda is one of people's favorite structures to look at out there, along with the pergola and the gazebo. And Dave proposed that, and people said, no way you'll ever do it, but he got it done. And he actually had made by one of our maintenance guys who can weld really well, one of the 6 ornamental panels that's in the pagoda before he ever got permission to build a thing. He was that certain he could do it. And that's the mindset of a guy who can build Ted Inslee Gardens. It's 9.5 acres. It's designed to appeal to all 5 senses, your sense of sight, your sense of smell, the hearing with the birds and things in there. There are things you can eat, but we encourage you not to eat the gardens. We'd like you to leave them behind for everybody else to enjoy as well. Dave will talk about an orchestra of colors. You can really learn how to plant at home by looking at our gardens. You can see the different heights of the plants that they'll use in the landscapes, the different colors that they'll use in the landscapes, and how they mix the textures and colors. Then he uses what he says are pauses in between of green space, like the pauses in music. So when you look from bed to bed to bed, and just kind of picture a symphony and how it raises to the crescendo, then calms back down, and raises to another crescendo. Some of the areas out there are very popular for wedding rentals. A lot of people either rent for the wedding the gazebo or the pergola, or they hold a wedding reception out there at the garden house. Ted Inslee actually raised his family at the garden house. Now it's there strictly for rentals, and it's very popular. Some of these secrets in Ted Inslee Gardens, Dave being the architect that he is, the pergola is designed to give you a view up Lake Shawnee. Now it's kind of grown in with the trees behind it, but you can see all the way up the lake when the trees aren't all the way leafed out. But as warm as it can get in a Kansas summer, the pergola is always 75% shaded, even in the hottest days of July. And Dave designed it to be that way. Some of the other tricks he's got in there's an underground room in Ted Inslee Gardens. We put that in the story, and people are calling us up asking, where is it? Well, we can't take you down in it. It's just big enough for Dave to stand in, actually. But he's gone to so many town squares, and it bugs him when he's looking at the fountain to hear the motor running. So he had an underground room built just in the green space north of the fountain, and he goes down there and adjusts the controls for the fountain every year. There are something like 40,000 gallons of water that course through per hour from the lake in through Ted Inslee Gardens and back down. There's an ADA accessible deck that Dave had built, so people in wheelchairs can go down and sit right by the lake shore and just listen to the water trickle in. And they say that it's just so peaceful and so healing to them. They have such a great appreciation for the stuff he's done down there. So a lot of people don't even realize across the street is an arboretum. If you go down to the south end of the gardens by the gazebo, just go across the street. Frank Sabatini donated some money to plant some trees. And what I think he was really looking for at that time was just a visual break between his own home and all the traffic at Lake Shawnee. Well, Dave said, well, let's not just plant a few trees. Let's do an arboretum. So you can go out there today and see trees that you would not normally see in Kansas. There are Ohio buckeyes. There's even an Asian tree that grows like 100 feet high, I think. The trees are labeled. If you look very closely on the ground, you can see what the different trees are. They're putting in some paths so you can take a walk through the arboretum out there. There's a trellis beneath it, and this is Dave again. There are flagstones that make sort of a patio. Within those flagstones, you'll see darker stones that form the shape of flowers. And that's just one more type of feature that Dave will build into things. The nature area you can just see going in on the other side of the street where you pull in the parking lot down by the garden house. You'll start to see the Dick and Dottie Hangar nature area taking shape. You'll see some earth being moved. He'll build some high hills with some things up on it. And it'll be one more really neat area out there at Lake Shawnee, one more reason to just keep coming back. And there are people who walk there every day. It's part of their routine. If I'm out there with my camera taking photographs of fishermen or something, people come up to me and say, hey, never let John Knight, your parks director, change this trail. Never let John Knight change this garden. We love it out here. And people just love to come over there. Folks who live in Aquarian Acres or anywhere around the lake just cross the street and have a great time. In Gage Park, we have the famous Reinisch Rose Garden. Former parks director, E.A. Reinisch, wanted a garden in the park, so he had set aside land for that. He actually passed away, so some friends in the community took up his cause, and they got a lot of people to donate land, money, hardware stores, and places. And there are now 5,000 different roses you can see in Reinisch Rose Garden. A lot of weddings happen there. A lot of wedding receptions take place there. A lot of the roses you can't buy commercially anymore, so you can go out there and see those in the Rose Garden. And just to the west of the Rose Garden is the Dorn Rock Garden. Somewhere in my notes, if I can pick it out of here, let's see. Thomas Francis Dorn in 1931 donated and built the Rock Garden as a quiet retreat where all who come may find tongues in trees, books in running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. And even north of there, there's the old Von Rohr Victorian Garden. It's kind of neat to see. I was out there taking pictures of tulips one year and just looked to the north, and there's a beautiful blooming redbud tree right next to a blooming crabapple tree, and then the fountain in the Von Rohr Victorian Garden. Just beautiful pictures everywhere you look. And the cool thing about Gage Park, Aaron Atkins, one of our horticulturists, said is it's not just a tulip time location. It's one of three. It's a before, during, and after tulip time park where if you want to learn how to put color in your yard at home, go out there and watch the specialty bulbs pop up, the daffodils, the crocus, the hyacinths, and the other bulbs that pop up early, then the tulips and the spring blooming trees, and then the trees that bloom in the warm weather season. In the last 2 years, Mother Nature has done a whammy on us. All the things bloomed at the wrong time. Tulip time came a month early this year, but it was still beautiful. And then lastly, one of the places I really like to go is Wardenmead Botanical Garden. It's a 2.5-acre garden, and it really has a story behind it, too. I'll tell you here in a second, but it features national display gardens for daylilies and hostas now. It also has a new Asian garden that some volunteers have put in. It has a monarch butterfly way station and a bunch of different water features, arbors, gazebos, 10,000 annual plants, and it has 40,000 of our tulips during tulip time when we plant about 100 to 120,000 tulips. Ray Schroeder is now down to sort of part-time. He's an intermittent employee. He was the last person to live in and raise his family in the Wardenmead Mansion, which is on the National Register of Historical Places. A friend of Ray's called him when he was still a student at Kansas State. He says, you got a job for after college? Nope. You interested? Sure. He goes, bring a lunchbox. You can fill the paperwork out when you get here. So Ray shows up with his lunchbox, goes down to Gage Park where there's a greenhouse. He would fill his station wagon with plants, drive them up there, plant them all with a spade, go back, get some more plants, come back out, plant this entire 2.5-acre garden with a spade. He says, I was planting the whole stinking thing with a spade.
Oh, wow.
No, there was not even a city truck and definitely no backhoe. But Ray's got all sorts of stories. He once rescued a St. Bernard that managed to find its way into a 7-foot pit. He dropped a ladder down it, got the dog's front legs up, and he just kind of walked the dog up the ladder one step at a time, got the dog out of the 7-foot hole. But he has just all sorts of stories of living there. The place was almost torn down. The Wardenmead Mansion was almost torn down at one time. A private company wanted to buy it and put a bus barn there. But the garden societies came in and they saved it. And they got the parks director at that time to save it. They would hold their events, their meetings inside the mansion. And at a point, they pretty much cleared out the walls in the mansion to just be meeting rooms up and down. But they still had the original blueprints. So one year for the bicentennial, the Junior League came in and they went in and rebuilt the mansion to its original state. So it looks pretty much like it did before. And, of course, you can go in and tour the mansion if you purchase a $5 ticket for the tour. Part of it, just a few of our offices up there in the mansion. But that kind of takes you on over to Old Prairie Town. And Old Prairie Town is an 1800s village. Most of what is in there, the mansion itself is original. The Ward cabin is actually a replica. Part of it came from Gage Park. The south end of it was in Gage Park. And a church group actually took it apart, labeled all the logs, moved them up there, and rebuilt it. And then Ray had a friend who owned a sawmill down by Lake Pomona. So Ray and his friend went down, marked all the trees, cut them, brought them up, and hired a contractor to build what is the north end of the Ward cabin. So the Ward cabin was actually several different cabins that were on that property when he bought it. And he was the first person who was allowed to do business with the Indians. And he bought that from the Indians. And he spent 4 years building the Ward Mead Mansion and then passed away the year it was finally built. So now they brought in some other buildings. I actually met the gentleman whose family had the Lingo Livery Stable on their own farm. His grandparents had that. He was one of the vendors, and he had a black and white picture of it sitting on his table. There's the Santa Fe Railroad, which used to be down in Pauline, the railroad station there. During the special events like Apple Festival and Tulip Time, Tulips at Twilight, you can actually ride that handcar with the family. Take a little ride on it. There's the Potwin Drugstore, which still has the old-fashioned soda fountain. You can go in and have an old-fashioned ice cream treat, buy some old-fashioned candy. If you're taking the tour, you can see the old pharmacy, the old apothecary. You can go upstairs and see the old doctor's and dentist's office. There's the Charles Sheldon Study, the Victor Schoolhouse, which used to be out by Rossville, and it had its 125th anniversary this year. There's the Everest Church, which, of course, came from Everest. A lot of stuff got its name from where it came from. Then the cabin, and then the fountain has even changed shape. I was talking to Wally. Wally works for us now. He actually lives about 2 doors down from Ward Mead Park in a house his parents owned. And he said that the fountain used to look a little bit like an octopus. It had multiple different arms on it, would give different kind of spray features. It got old and it was replaced with the fountain that's in there today. And now that whole planter area is, of course, planted in, and that's a beautiful part of Tulip Time.
So much to see and do. One of my husband's favorite pastimes is golf. Hit on those real quick.
Yeah, we have 3 golf courses. Lake Shawnee Golf Course is one of the favorites around the community. Offers breathtaking views and challenges of playing alongside Lake Shawnee. If you can't catch a fish, you might be able to hit one with a golf ball. Beautiful course, par 70. And Cypress Ridge Golf Course out in southwest Topeka is the old public course. It's been upgraded quite a bit. People are really complimenting us on how well the grounds are taken care of by our current golf superintendent, Kerry Golden. Challenges for golfers of all skill levels. Good place to take some golf lessons along with Lake Shawnee. We are working right now to put putting some cart pass in the back 9. When it was built, only the front 9 had cart pass, and that'll keep us from playing tournaments on wet days or anybody from getting back there on too wet a day. So it'll be a really nice addition to the Cypress Ridge Golf Course. Forbes Golf Course down south is a great place if you're just starting out in golf. If you like to play at a little more relaxed pace, some seniors tell us they like to go down there because they don't feel rushed by the group behind them that plays a little bit better and wants to play through. And a neat thing for people who like to play soccer and want to try out golf is foot golf. It's a growing popular sport. They'll play it on the same golf course. The greens are different. They have a big, like an 18-inch cup instead of the 10 cup for golf, and you play it with a soccer ball, and it takes about half the amount of time that it takes to play a regular round of golf.
I might actually be good at that. I said it was my husband's favorite pastime. I'm not so good at it. My kids are really good at it also. Maybe I should just start bringing the soccer ball.
If you're ever tempted to kick your golf ball, this is your chance.
There you go. So again, tell them real quick where to find the information.
Golf courses, parks, trails, anything you can find at parks.snco.us. That's our website. And, of course, we'd like you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Great place to keep up, like Tulip Time this year. We didn't talk much about that because we're headed into summer. We just finished Tulip Time, and it was over the top this year. We not only had the tulips at Ted Inslee Gardens, Dorn Rock Garden, and Ward Mead Botanical Garden in Old Prairie Town, 2 special events this year. Visit Topeka and Friends of Ted Inslee Garden put on Tulip Time Festival at the lake. They had a Tulip Time Queen this year, which was a new addition. This young lady is a balloon artist, and she actually made a skirt and top and a crown out of balloons and was squeaking her way around wearing it that day. But thousands of people come out to that every year. And we have food trucks out there. We have a car show out there. So many people out there taking pictures. People from foreign countries come. We had people, I think, from 7 different countries last year. They come from counties all over the state. We had 5 or 6 different states represented. Ward Mead Botanical Garden this year was a brand new event. It was Tulips at Twilight. If you didn't see it, look on our Facebook page. Scroll back a little bit. It's the park is lighted, and beautiful illuminated tulips. And people asking, will it be back next year? We sure hope it will.
So much information. Be sure and check it out at parks.snco.us. You can also call them at 785-251-6800. And if you're looking to buy or sell, be sure and give us a call at 785-213-5188. Thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Carrie Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Tune in again next Sunday at 11 o'clock for Real Estate 101.